Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Theater of Football. I am Mike Hodem, and I am joined by Patrick Heinrich. Patrick, how was your weekend?
It was great, Mike. Very relaxing. Now ready to start the week.
Yes, that's right. Well, it was very relaxing, and what helped make it relaxing was the unprecedented just pace of United getting a deal done. And it was a player who I've said on this channel many times that I wanted us to sign, and I fully expected us not to, but we did it. Donny van de Beek from Ajax, midfielder, 40 million pounds roughly is the fee. Patrick, how do you think he'll fit into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's vision?
Well, he is, first of all, he's theater of football approved, so we'll just get that out of the way. I am very excited for this edition. I know we've talked about it before. I'm, absolutely thrilled, A, that we got it done, B, that it's Donny van de Beek. So I'm really ecstatic about this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he's going to fit into the squad.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Just to give a little background, heard nothing really about the player until it was his club's friendly against Eintracht Frankfurt on Saturday afternoon. The manager left him out of the squad altogether. Then I believe after the match, he said he was asked about it, and he was like, "Well, the player's close to being transferred to another club."
Huh.
I assumed my pessimistic views that it was Barcelona or Real Madrid.
Yeah.
News quickly came out that soon thereafter that Barcelona were not interested in the player. So I'm like, okay, it's Real Madrid. Real Madrid did have an agreement in place pre-pandemic with Ajax, and all that needed to happen was basically the player needed to take a medical, from what I understand. And with the pandemic, Europe going into lockdown, got put on the back burner. Real Madrid never went back in, and that's to our benefit.
That's right.
So, Sunday, it was quickly seen that it was us, in fact, that were the ones doing the negotiating. And by Sunday night, Ajax had accepted our fee. And to me, this was always a straightforward deal. So I thought it should have been done 5 weeks ago when the transfer window opened. What do you think, Patrick? Should we have just gotten this out of the way?
I think so. I mean, without all this mucking around with Sancho, I think we probably could have gotten it done a lot earlier. But you know how it all rolls. You start with one thing and spend and waste a lot of time on it and end up getting something better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Van de Beek might not have the explosion that Sancho potentially brings, but for his price tag,
Oh yeah,
when you compare him to Grealish, who Villa slapped a price tag double, Grealish to me is a one-footed player,
yep.
plays with his right foot. You watch Van de Beek play; he's very much a two-footed player. I love my players being able to play with both feet.
I like two-footed soccer players as well.
Yes, yes. I don't know. It's always funny watching professional footballers that can't do a dang thing with their weak foot. But
Yeah.
anyway,
And I should say, I should clarify, in a perfect world where everything's free, Sancho obviously is a better player, and it would have been better. Van de Beek is the better deal and the better choice, the wiser choice, I should have said. But yes, just acknowledging in a perfect free world, then that Sancho would have been great.
it just doesn't make any sense to me that we would wait so long for the Van de Beek. You get the Van de Beek deal done early, and you just kind of everyone, the fan base, just kind of relaxes a little bit. Okay, we got one quality deal in for a good price, and we're working on other transfers. You know, you don't do anything concrete for 5 weeks, and everyone gets restless.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of the beast. But you know, when you see Chelsea sign 4 or 5 players, it starts to weigh on you.
Yeah, I always thought it was just they were trying to send the message that we are focusing and are very interested in Sancho, should give them the appearance that they're, really interested and therefore willing to come to the table with a good offer. And also that they haven't spent any of their transfer budget yet. So there's the potential for a good offer. So I thought that maybe that's what they were doing. But I mean, you still could have done it earlier and still had the same offer on the table potentially. So
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand it. I think this only got done so quickly, and let me say that it hasn't been officially announced by the club yet. However, with the English government currently imposing, from what I understand, a 14-day isolation period for everyone coming to the UK. They actually have a clause for sporting for athletes, where if you're traveling from, so for instance, Bruno Fernandes, he'll be away on Portugal duty. When he gets done and comes back to the club, he won't have to go into isolation because he was away on doing his job, basically. I don't want to call it a loophole, but the government said that if you sign players before they play their final game for their country, if you sign the player and have them registered for the club, that they do not have to go into an isolation period, which means they can come right in and start training with the club. Now, that could be a bad thing, potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah. But right, let's just say that that's a positive, because I feel like that kind of has spurred us into action. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was the kind of the I don't know, light under the fire under the butt of Woodward and Matt Judge and the Glaziers to finally get something done where we can bring in a player and then have him be available for the first game.
Yeah.
And I actually expect us to do another deal before the end of the international games, which I didn't think I would say, but I do expect that. But I want to, before I kind of go into other deals, potential deals, other rumors that have come out today, I just want to talk more about Van de Beek because a lot's been said by pundits, media, about how he'll fit in. Some have said that he is going to be a replacement, if you will, for Madic as a number 6, maybe as a holding midfielder, defensive midfielder, however you want to look at it. Others have said that they think that means Pogba is on his way out, that he's getting sold. Patrick, how do you see him fitting into our lineup?
Well, I always thought one of the most interesting things about Donny Van de Beek that I was really excited about, even beyond how he would fit into the starting 11, is I always saw him and when he was playing, his creativity and his style and his flair, really reminded me a lot of Bruno. So I really thought that despite where he ends up in the starting 11, I always thought it was great to bring him in because he could be a potential replacement or a backup for Bruno Fernandes should he get injured or something like that happen. Because one thing that we've learned is having an excellent playmaker like Bruno Fernandes has really boosted our play style. So were something to happen to him, or if he get injured or he has to miss games for injury or illness or COVID or something like that, we need to have somebody to a similar caliber, not saying Donny Van de Beek is the same caliber, but to a similar degree of caliber of creative playmaker that can step in and take over that space. And I don't think we had it. Certainly don't have it right now. So I think Donny Van de Beek is a fine replacement, in my opinion, were that to happen. So I think, besides how he fits into the starting 11, I think that having him as kind of Bruno insurance, as we like to say, is a bonus in my book. But I think that in how he fits into the squad, I think my thoughts are that he could be brought in to, have another quality starter so that we can also give some of the midfielders like Madic and Pogba a rest and still not, suffer in our quality of play. So I think that's probably, in my opinion, one of the reasons to bring him in. It does really shed light, though, on a potential future for Pogba on where he, could end up. But I think the other thought is that would come to mind is maybe there's, Ole is going to experiment with some new formations as another possibility.
Yeah, and to that point, there was the Everton match in March where he played essentially a 4-4-2, but it was a diamond in midfield where he had Matic at the base, he had Fred and McTominay on either side, and he had Bruno up top. Pogba was still injured, and if Pogba's fit, you have Van de Beek. That diamond formation suddenly looks pretty good to me. And if you're playing with two up top, say it's Martial and Rashford or Martial and Greenwood, that is looking pretty sexy to me.
Yeah.
It did not work that day at Everton, in my opinion. Nothing against the players that were there in their place. It was a one-off. He decided to experiment for whatever reason, even though at the time I thought what was going on was working. But he decided to experiment, and I thought it backfired. But maybe he was experimenting with this in mind. I thought at the time maybe he was experimenting with the thought of Pogba coming back. I think the emergence of Greenwood post lockdown allowed Ole to keep playing the 4-2-3-1 for the most part. But I could see if that's something he wants to persist with, he could do that. I can also see us playing against, teams in the bottom half of the table. I'm going to preface this. If we sign a pacey, strong, left-sided center back, I could see him playing Van de Beek, Pogba, and Bruno together in the midfield without Matic.
Yeah.
But I think you need that extra pace at the back because I don't think you can get away with that playing Maguire and Lindelof there. Bai potentially could do that, but he has to stay healthy, and I think he needs a run of games to get back into really good form too. I think he has the capability to play that role, but you can't trust his injury record. So those are, I think, two things. And the news that came out today, I'm going to lead into, was that we are supposedly interested in Dayot Upamecano, Red Bull Leipzig's 21-year-old defender. Really, really impressed in the Champions League this season. I caught his match late in the year when they played Mainz in the Bundesliga. And he didn't really have to do much defending that day, but he did. He was impressive with how he was bringing the ball out from the back and some of the passes he was playing. He could potentially be that target. And Ole seems to come out today, and it was a headline on ESPN. It was also in the Daily Mail. If it was in the Daily Mail, I wouldn't even bring it up.
Right.
It was on ESPNFC.com. And for those of you not in America or not familiar with ESPN, ESPN's basically America's Sky Sports, and they don't usually pick up stories that aren't from well-founded sources. So that makes me think we are interested in him. The problem is that right at the start, or right before the start of the transfer window, the player agreed a 3-year extension, which included a roughly £40 million buyout clause, but that doesn't go into effect next summer. So it's essentially sign the contract now. He had 1 year left on his previous deal. Sign this contract now, stay with the club this next season. If you have another good year, then all the big clubs will come in and put in a bid for you.
Yeah.
I think it's actually smart for us to go in now and potentially offer 20 million more than that buyout clause next summer. Because if we go in next summer with that buyout clause, hopefully this season goes well for us, but we're in competition with, it's United, City. I would think City's going to always be in constant need for a quality center back. Liverpool could potentially raise the funds for that low of a buyout clause, and Barcelona and Real Madrid may sort out their finances by then. PSG has the money, and he's a French player. I think he just got his first call up to the national team as well. So he could be attracted to that. Juventus too has money, so there's no guarantee that we would be his first choice next summer.
Yeah.
So this is something that's big to me, because if Ole signs Van de Beek and he's going to kind of forego a natural defensive midfield player like Madic is, or I think Fred's, to me, a more natural defensive holding midfield player as well. If he's willing to forego that from his starting 11, he definitely needs to sign a quality center back with pace. So yeah, what do you make of what I'm saying here? Do you think that these two that there could be some truth to this rumor, and do you think maybe it's just us barking down another blind alley, or we should just stick to maybe some easier targets?
Yeah, well, I mean, to your point earlier about the quote unquote loophole for COVID, I would say nothing motivates like getting around government bureaucracy. So I think it'd be great to see what happens. I think I agree, we'll be definitely making some decisions quickly if that's the case. But I definitely see that kind of vision of what you laid out on. If we do go to that position in the midfield, you definitely need a quick center back to be able to support that. And if without, I feel like there would be some, I guess there's always some sort of, little drip of information about Pogba and his future. But, if Pogba was going to be leaving, I feel like there could be some other signs out there that was going to be the case. So to me, the signing Van de Beek kind of leans more towards formation change, and I think that kind of signals to me that that's probably what Ole is going for, it's especially with the additional person that we're hunting down there. So I mean, I think I completely agree. I think it's conceptually something that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think you were kind of hinting at it. The other player we were rumored with was Thiago today, that we were potentially going to go in and sign him. Bayern reportedly want 30 million euros, and he's free to go. And the player has said he wants to move to the Premier League. It was always thought that Liverpool led the race, but apparently Liverpool don't have the funds, and they don't see the value in signing a 29-year-old player for 30 million euros. Now, given his performances at the end of the Champions League and at the end of the Bundesliga season, I would disagree with that. But they've made some smart deals since Klopp's been in charge, so you can't really. I'm not going to really second guess them there. I think that rumor, to me, if we went after Thiago, then I might say Pogba's on his way out the door.
Yeah.
But I feel like these rumors are being leaked out because Bayern are trying to get Liverpool to finally come in with an offer that meets their valuation. And I don't think we're actually close to signing the player. I think we're interested bystanders, if you will.
Right.
I'm sure Ole's an admirer of the player. I don't know anybody who wouldn't be an admirer of the player. Good player. But I just don't think after signing Van de Beek, I don't think our next signing is going to be another midfielder. I just
Especially
don't.
Another older midfielder.
Yeah. It kind of goes against Ole's recruitment since he's taken charge. With exception to the Igalo loan deal.
Well, that was a Band-Aid.
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, I don't see us getting. I don't see that happening. The player I admire, and I'm not going to say, oh, he's going to be terrible at Liverpool just because I don't like Liverpool. I think he'd go to Liverpool and and kick butt there. But I think it's just our name being brought in again to get the club a deal over the line. I will say this about Klopp, though. Chelsea came in with concrete interest for another Red Bull Leipzig player like Upamecano and Timo Werner. And Liverpool didn't panic and say, oh, we're going to meet this clause. No, they said, no, we're not going to pay the release clause. We don't have the money. They stuck to their guns and let him go to Chelsea. So I don't think us coming in, even if it's concrete, I don't think that's going to spring Liverpool into action.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's like pulling the levers that you have access to. What's one of the levers to get Liverpool to jump? Oh, Manchester United's interested in it. We have this concrete deal. It's just one of the things to do to see if what you can do is to leak something to the press about a potential deal with Man United as a lever and see if they jump. And if they don't jump, then it's like, well, on to the next thing.
You got the new contract potentially getting signed lever.
Right.
And right next to it is the Manchester United lever.
Yeah, it's the red and gold one. You can't miss it.
That's right. That's a great point. That just seems to be what every club does now.
Jesus, especially during this transfer period. My God.
Yeah, it's been quite a headache. But despite those two rumors coming out today, bits of news, I don't know. Nothing really new on Jadon Sancho, so don't know what's happening there. Some fans still seem convinced he's headed to United. I'm not so convinced. I think if it does get done, it'll be like right at the beginning of October. And I think if we can't get something, if we don't get it done this week, at this point, there's no hurry given, I think, the imposed lockdown. If you can get it done before he plays that second game for England, then great. He'll be available for that first game. But at that point, he's going to miss games no matter. He's going to miss the start of the year. And that's so you might as well try to focus maybe on some domestic targets at that point. Which doesn't look like it'll be Grealish. One final point on our midfield. Apparently Galatasaray has come to United with a bid to take Fred on loan, and we turned them down, but they're supposedly coming back with the second bid. So that could potentially be the move that gives us space for Van de Beek and or Thiago. I don't know. I would hate to see that happening. Fred just came off his second year. I thought he played considerably. He improved considerably from his first year.
Yeah.
He started the semifinal in the Europa League, and I thought he was one of our best players in that game. And so that'd be a bit of a disappointment if he was to leave, I think.
Yeah.
Once he finally seemed like he was starting to figure things out at the club, he gets sent out on loan to Turkey. That wouldn't really send him a good message, but that's another little bit that could potentially spice up the midfield, or if you will.
Yeah, I thought he found his pace in the semifinals Champions League game. I thought he did really well that game. So it would, like you said, be a shame to lose him.
He didn't play very well, but he didn't get the most of opportunities because Ole was not going to rotate his squad. He played also in the semifinal against Chelsea. I believe, and I don't think he was that bad there. I thought he was one of our better players, even though on the whole we were crap. So I don't know if that's really saying anything, because overall he was one of our better players, but he still wasn't that good in that game. But if everybody else is crap, it's really hard to do anything. Yeah,
well, one of the other rumors that I hear about, and I really hope Jeremy is listening to this, because I've heard that Galatasaray recently came into a lot of money, so they're going to give us £200 million for Fred, which gives us 2 years of salary for Messi. So that's perfect. Ends up working out really well.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, my ideal transfer window would be, we got Van de Beek, that was number one. If we can get Upamecano, that would be number two.
Yep.
If we can get the Messi deal over the line finally.
Exactly.
I'd rate that transfer window 10 out of 10.
Solid. Oh, yeah. Jeremy just texted me. He said he loves that idea.
Does he? It's funny. It's funny. My phone's silent.
Okay.
He's just communicating with you. I'm sure he feels like this was all my doing. But no, we don't really need. I don't think we want Messi. That's just
Nope.
a headache we don't need. And we could get into all the developments that have happened since we talked about him last week. But I believe we do not have time for that.
Nobody has time for that.
In fact, I think we're all out of time. The curtain is now closing on the theater of football. Thank you, Patrick, as always, for joining me. For Patrick, I'm Mike. Let us know what you think on Twitter at Theater of Football. And until next time, take care.
Cheers, everyone.
Oh, hello. Thank you for watching the Theater of Football. If you think Mike got it wrong yet again, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below.